In today's video I'll be making dandelion honey, often called vegan honey, using a recipe that won us first prize in a category at a local show last year, so I'm excited to share it with you. I'm Kirsty, my husband's Dean. Welcome to Hearts and Blue Homestead. As I'm sure many of you will have noticed, dandelions are in absolute abundance in the UK this year, making it a great opportunity to make a preserve ready for the winter months. If you haven't tried much preserving before, it is a great, relatively low-cost way of putting food on the shelf, as for this recipe you don't need your own produce or pay for fruits at your local shops and stores. As with all foraging, make sure that you're 100% sure and what you are picking, leave plenty for others, and in this case, most important of all, leave lots for the bees. When picking dandelions and other wild forageables, please avoid the roadsides as the pollutants can go into the plants. It is also best to avoid the entrances and exits of parks that are popular for dog walkers. I'm just popping them off from underneath the flower, as the pollen will dye your hands. You could wear gloves for this bit if you would prefer. As you can see, I have only picked what I need and there is plenty left for others and the bees. I've just spent some time getting as much green as I can off the dandelion. We just want the yellow bits. You can leave the green on, but will make quite a bitter syrup. I've also covered it in 1 litre of water, so I've got 250 grams of dandelion flowers here, with 1 litre of water and 1 washed sliced lemon. Now what I'm going to do is just put the heat on, bring it up to a simmer and let it simmer for 10 minutes. That's been simmering away for 10 minutes. So I'm just going to turn it off, keep the lid on and just let it infuse overnight. That's had overnight. So now just what we need to do is strain it through a muslin, square, a cheesecloth, or even just a clean pillowcase, because we just need the liquid for the next bit. We just need to give it a squeeze to get as much of that dandelion goodness out as we can. Then what's left in here can just go in the compost. It's a lovely colour. Now it's time to make the syrup. I've got my liquid, I've got my lids, they're just in a pan with some water. I'm going to boil them for about 10 minutes when I put the jars in the oven to sterilise. Got the jars ready to go in the oven. They're just washed in soapy water, rinsed, and they are still wet. And I'll be putting them in the oven about 10 to 15 minutes before the syrup is ready. I've also got a plate and a metal spoon in the freezer, just so we can test it to see if it's done. It will take about 40 to 45 minutes boiling to make a thick syrup. But that just depends on how thick you want it. If you want it a lot more runny, it won't take as long. So I've got my 1 litre of infused liquid. I'm going to add 500 grams of sugar. You can use a sweetener, that's okay for heating. I will put them here. My digital scales are playing up, so I'm just doing half a bag of again. We're just going to heat that up gently just until the sugar is dissolved, and then we'll turn up the heat. That's dissolved now, so I'm just going to bring it up to a boil. It's been going for about half an hour now, so I'm going to turn the oven on. And it needs to go on preheat to 100 to 140 degrees to sterilise the jars. I'm also going to turn that back on and let them boil. Then when that's preheated, I'm going to put the jars into the oven for between 10 and 20 minutes to sterilise. I've got my plate and my spoon out of the freezer just to test how it's going. It's nowhere near done yet, but I just want to check. It is getting there. Still a little thin. Tastes lovely though. It's been half an hour, or more like 35 minutes, so I'm just going to test it again, because it wasn't far off last time, because we are making a syrup, not a jam or jelly. I am happy with that. It tastes wonderful. So I'm going to turn it off the heat and just let it settle for 10 minutes before filling the jars. This recipe will only make a few jars, but it does double, triple, quadruple very, very easily. So I'll put an image up of how many I made last year, just so you can see. The longest part is the dandelions, because it does take a lot of dandelions to make a small amount of the syrup. So that's why it's very important to make sure you get them when they're in abundance, leave plenty for others and even more for the bees. The jars are out and you need to get them filled while they're still hot to prevent cracking and to keep the sterilisation. I did change the pan over because I did need to put my funnel in to sterilise too. There we go, it's made 2 jars. I can't remember what size these jars are. We'll find out and put it on. But when you're sterilising and filling sterilised jars, always put too many jars in, because if you run out of jars and then you struggle to sterilise them, it's not worth doing. So, got a full jar and a mostly full jar, which I'll use first. But like I say, I will be making some more next week. This is just the basic one, and normally I make 4 times as much at a time, and I often put them in smaller jars to give out to friends and family too, which is what I'll be doing next week. I'm just going to put the lids on. So this magnetic lifter I got in the set with the jar lifter that I recommend in my canning videos. Just makes it easier to stop you burning yourself. Now we're just going to put the jar lids on tightly. It's hard to do through the camera. I will do it later. We'll do that in a minute off camera. So this one, with it not being full, I need to use it first. Will still be fine on the shelf, but I need to use it up quickly. These ones, the ones that are full and sterilised and sealed, will last at least 12 months. So I will come back when they're all cooled. That is the syrup all set. Well, in comparison, it's the same recipe. That's last year's. So it just shows the difference in the dandelions when you're making your own produce. It's not all that everything repetitive. So it's same weight of dandelions, same weight of water, same weight of sugar, cooked for the same time, different consistency and different colour. You can see why it gets called vegan honey, because it does look very, very similar to honey. And it does have a lot of benefits with it being the dandelions. A lovely thick syrup. If you do want it runnier so it pours easier, you just don't cook it as long. So this took about 35 minutes in the end. I was quite happy. It thickened up quite well. But the dandelions are all different sizes and things. So that's why you get a bit of inconsistency. But I'm really happy with that. So I'll be making some more next week. Just each time I go out, I'll grab a few more. Make another few jars. Because last year this went down really well. Well, now I'm going to preserve a lot more eggs. So I'm going to water glass some more. I'm going to make some Yorkshire puddings. I'm going to box some up to sell on our local selling page. So that's my next job for today. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.